Hey lovers, welcome to Sacred Soulmates. I am your goddess Euphoria. Over here we celebrate and we uplift divine union and sacred soulmate relationships. And all of that starts with a sacred soulmate, divine love union within yourself. You got to incorporate those masculine and feminine energies. Feminine. Got to get those masculine and feminine energies balanced within yourself and operate out of a state of self-love before you can expect anyone else to come along and give you anything that you desire out of a relationship. Now with my readings, I read on the chakras, so from the crown to the root. There are more chakras than that, but we keep it mainstream so everybody can come get some. And crowning the reading is bittersweet. I am talking to some grown folks on tonight. It's something like memories are rushing back. It could have to do something with like hearing certain music, certain songs that bring back memories. Because as soon as this card came out, the song by Fantasia, Bittersweet, came to me, and I had to go look it up and listen to it. And y'all, like the place I was in my life when that song was like hot, spinning in rotation on the radio and stuff, so many emotions like came back to me just singing that song. Like I'm talking about voice cracking a little bit, eyes watering and stuff, because it was just the level of pain that was resonating within me when that song came out. And that's what's resurfacing right now. It's like somebody's going over some memories um of days gone by, and it feels like nostalgic. This is the type of right now what I'm seeing two things. I'm seeing Martin on the last episode of his show Martin, when he wrote on the wall, what I'm saying, one love, and like turned the lights out. And then I'm also seeing Fresh Prince. Also seeing that last episode of Fresh Prince when Will is like looking around in the empty living room. Like moments like that. Like even right now I just had a chill go down my spine, and I feel like you may even hear it in my voice. Like I feel like I want to cry, but I don't have nothing to cry about. But it's that type of energy that's like at the top of the mind, that's kind of like moving through the collective right now, which symbolizes shifts. There's shifts in things. There's timeline splitting. They move from one you know place that had become familiar and that had become home, moving into another place and starting something new. And although you have your whole life ahead of you, you can't help but just feel, it's like sadness. It's the bittersweet. You feel for like the death of something that you enjoyed. um Grieving, that type of energy is here. I can't help but feeling this energy of someone like miscarrying. So if there's a woman who miscarried, and you what just came through is like someone miscarrying or having a stillborn, and the father is no longer like alive. So that one piece that you thought you had of that person is now gone forever. That's really hard. That's really hard. It's such a somber energy, but at the same time it feels like it's not hopeless. That's the bittersweet about it. The bitter part is the losses, the letting go of something that you thought would be so promising. And I'm hearing her and Bryson. Is that the one with Bryson Tiller on it? Yes, I think so. We could have been. It's like we could have that. You easier said than done. It's that energy, like you, something seemed like it would be so smooth and it would have been so perfect and you were so ready for it and would have given your all to it, and then it's like snatched away. Or things shift so quickly that you have to kick into high gear and leave something or someone behind. And that's like what's crowning the reading right now. The only major arcana we have in this spread is the high priestess, and the high priestess has a very intimate understanding of both light and dark. So that's that bittersweet, the light and the dark. You know that something better is coming. You may even have plans to move into a new life, to shift into something else. It's given the energy of you leaving something behind and you have no plans to ever come back. Just like Martin, he left that apartment. You know, how often do people move from some place and then come right back to that same place that they used to live in? You know what I'm saying? Or, the rest in peace, Uncle Phil, for real. You're the only father that I ever knew. It's something about a father that is no longer present for their child, or someone who was pregnant and he was going to be a father. He passed, and the baby that was supposed to come from that never made it into this life. That energy is still coming back around. Like, but that high priestess energy is somebody really knows pain. Just like when I was listening to that Bittersweet song by Fantasia, like when I tell you I was hurting so bad at that point in my life, but I couldn't stop and cry. Like at that point, like if I would have just stopped and allowed myself to cry, like I probably would have broke down and still been stuck in that karmic loop, or like would have, you know, succumbed to depression. And y'all know what come when the depression becomes too much and somebody can't dig themselves out of that black hole. Y'all, you know how that usually ends. And somebody knows that. If it's not you that personally knows that type of pain and you are moving into something new, but you still have kind of like the bittersweet part about it is that in order for you to grow, in order for you to progress, in order for you to heal yourself, you had to experience that. If you hadn't experienced that, your growth would not be as profound as it is. It wouldn't, whatever strides you've made since a low point, you wouldn't have made such strong strides had it not been for the depths of your pain. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says, the depth down determines your height up. How far down and deep into the darkness, into the trenches you go is, you know, your wavelength depth. It's the depth of your wavelength that determines frequency, because how far down you can go is also how far up you can go. So if you felt that type of pain, like crippling pain, then you will also know bliss. You will also know euphoria. That's the bittersweetness about it. And something about this retrograde period is bringing about these memories. And just like I was talking about the transitions, Martin leaving his apartment, the Fresh Prince leaving Bel Air, or the whole family moving or whatever. It's like you looking back on a part of your life that you're leaving behind, and even the excruciatingly painful parts is like you still kind of look back on them fondly because of how far it has propelled you up in your healing. And the high priestess, that's a level of healing that you don't come by easily. It's not something like, can't nobody teach you that. That's something that only experience can show you. But still, it's like as you, because it's giving the energy of like someone moving into the lighter parts. Like I'm seeing, you know, all of these doves and stuff. You release doves at the homegoing. It's like releasing pain that you know that you'll no longer revisit. Somebody has ascended out of like a karmic loop or a generational curse in terms of like, you know, love life or situationships, romance, whatever, friendships, even familial, like family love, agape love. Somebody's ascended out of a karmic loop with that. So you'll never have to experience that pain again. And you know you won't have to. You know, like, you know, people passing, that's always going to be something. But with that high priestess understanding, it feels like even your relationship with death is different now. You may have had like a near-death experience, or someone you really care about passed away, and you always thought that, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do without this person. And now that you are forced to live without this person, you're finding that they gave you more strength than you thought, or the memories hold you up better than you thought. Like you're doing better than you thought you would do without someone who was so important to your life at some point. And that's like a bittersweet transition. It's like a bittersweet shift. It's like mourning the loss of something, but also being like eternally grateful for what you learned in the absence of whatever it was that you lost. And that dynamic, both the light and the dark, gives you a deep sense of balance. It's like nothing could shake you at this point in your life. And as you move forward into whatever new beginnings that you have, it's like you take that balance with you. But that balance was hard won. It was not easy. You had a hard road to hoe. But it's like you look back on it fondly. It's like people who grew up in poverty looking back and be like, man, we was broke as hell, but it was fun. Like that type of energy. but it feels a little bit less playful than that. It feels a lot more serious, because what's grounding the reading right here in the root position is the Five of Knives. It's like it was really hard. Like these are hard memories, but you're somehow able to think back on things, and the memories of it don't cripple you. A lot of people just live life like not wanting to look back and, sweeping shit under the rug so that they never have to talk about it or never have to unpack it ever again. They just, tuck it into a deep dark hole in themselves and never address it again. But in the third eye position, it's like you did the work to bring it up and to heal from it. You weren't afraid of the fallout manifesting in your life. I don't know if that's the best way to explain it. The Daughter of Knives is like not being afraid to address something that needed to be addressed. Like not being afraid of the grieving process, talking through the grieving process, actually letting people know I'm grieving, I'm having a hard time, I need help. Like speaking out with humility. The daughter is, this is a young girl in the process of learning. So asking for help is just a natural thing when you're young. You know you need help. It's expected that you need help. And somebody was able to, while in the depths of your pain, you still made it a point to do the healing openly, even the ugly healing with the High Priestess, the stuff that people may look at and it may have felt burdensome on some people. Maybe it was too much. You having those suicidal thoughts could have been too much for a lot of people, or you being depressed could have been just too much for a lot of people. But that never stopped you from giving yourself the space and the opportunity to mourn something that was a loss for you. It's like not being afraid of the darkness, not being afraid of the depths of your own emotion, with the High Priestess in the throat chakra position. Like you were not afraid to put words to the feelings that you were feeling. And that bittersweet energy is like when you put words to it, it's like some people around you may have wanted or may have preferred that you not talk about it, or may have preferred that you not be so loud about your grieving, or that you not mourn so openly. Because a lot of people like to, the people who save face, the people who just have a lot of pride, the people who don't really want to deal with reality, the people who just rather stay stuck in the comfort of a karmic loop and keep repeating the same pain over and over again, like trauma porn addicts, kind of. And you were like, no, I want to ascend from this, but I can't ascend from this if I keep, just simmering in it. And somebody would not allow themselves to simmer in it. You did the work. In the heart position is the father of knives. Like you made hard decisions, you had hard discussions. And if somebody didn't want to have it with you, you sought out the resources and the connections that you needed to give yourself the healing that was needed. This man out here in the middle of the forest chopping his own wood, because who else gonna do it? It's like, who else is gonna heal me if I'm around people who don't even want to talk about it, or if I'm in a connection with a partner who is no longer present for me to, lean on them. The energy of like abandonment is here, but for a subsection of, whoever this resonates with, it's not like somebody abandoned you on purpose. But that abandonment energy is so strong that maybe they lived some type of lifestyle that they knew was risky, or they were, having some type of like vice or addiction or something that they knew was risky, and it took them away from their family prematurely. Or something about like a diagnosis that was caught too late because somebody wasn't going to see the doctor. A lot of men don't really see doctors as regularly as they should. So it's like something that maybe could have been preventable happened, and it left like a hole in someone's heart, in like an absence, a sense of abandonment, or you felt like something that was really near and dear to you was just snatched away from you. You were deprived of something that was pivotal to your growth, but still did the work to figure out how to get that growth without whatever that pivotal thing is. in whatever your situation is, you'll understand what I'm talking about. If it's resonating with you, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. The loss that you had to take, the L you had to wear, um, the sense of abandonment of not having something, with the father of knives and the heart being there. This could be like a father wound, like have growing up with an absent father, or a father who did more for the other children than they did for you. That type of energy is here, and this is something that you would have had to heal yourself through, because and again, that energy of like people shying away from the weight of it. You know, we live in a society where it's like men these days, they be loud and proud about, I ain't taking care of nobody else's kid. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe back in the day they had a little more grace about it, but it's like, you know, it's out there now. I ain't taking care of nobody else's children. And it's like that's a experience, like having a like a father-daughter experience, or having a father-son experience could have been something that you were deprived of, but you still did the work to figure out how to heal that part of yourself. Even though it's such a dark, ugly wound, like people may not want to hear about it. It's something about, even if you tried to talk about it, maybe people tried to make it seem like you were playing victim, or like you were just being melodramatic. And those type of people, because they refuse to, you know, be there in that hour of need, that can also be a part of this bittersweet feeling of what you're leaving behind, because the transition is still there. Above all else, like when I pull the crown card, this is the energy that applies to every other card that comes out. And this is in the it's blue, so it's associated with the throat chakra. It's like something about you making it known that something is over. I just heard that's dead. Like you making it known to people, either through verbally or through your body language, or how you treat them. Maybe you fuck with people from a distance, you keep them on a long leash, all of that. You deal with folks from an arm's length. Maybe that type of energy is here. But it's like you express that, okay, you weren't here when I needed you, when I was going through like the bulk of this pain. So now that I've learned how to chop my own wood, now that I've learned how to heal myself, you're not an association that I need. But still, I think about that innocence in that period in my life when I did love you. I think about, and maybe you do still love them, but it's like I think about that part of my life where I did allow you in. I think about that part of my life where we did have a connection, when we were close. And it's like that is coming to an end for some people. That's one of those, you know, we had really good times in this apartment. We loved the Martin show. You know, all of these seasons, so much went down within this apartment. Bruh man coming through the door, hustle man, gangs, and all kind of stuff. Like iconic pop culture reference. And then it comes down to that one episode, and everything was just so somber. Like it was hardly any active people cutting jokes. It was more like reminiscing. So somebody's in like a reminiscent energy. With the solar plexus position, we have 6 of coins. Whatever decision you had to make, you made it for the betterment of not just yourself. Like the energy of, you know, somebody having like a miscarriage or a stillborn. You may have already had other children, or you still have some position that's like important in the community, or you still have some type of like job that requires a lot of responsibility out of you, so you still had to just keep going. Like it's giving that somebody didn't really have the space and opportunity to grieve, but you made it a point to grieve and heal and mourn the way that you needed to, because you knew that you couldn't ascend out of that dark place if you didn't address it head on. And with the father of knives, the daughter of knives is again like a father wound, could be it. Um, Being abandoned while pregnant. Pregnant people will always remember. Just like they say, an elephant will always remember. A pregnant woman will always remember how you treated her at her most vulnerable point. So that could be what's going on right now. You having memories of like postpartum depression, or the condition that you were left in when you were pregnant, abandonment, somebody getting you pregnant and not sticking around. That energy has kind of been like lingering lately in readings. But it's like whatever it was that kept you moving forward, which now you see that strength. That's the bittersweet component. That's the sweet part of it, is that you eventually became so strong that when you have these memories, and you know, it's like it's almost like a spirit is bringing this woman like a birthday cake. So it's something about the anniversary. So I don't know if it's like the anniversary of someone's passing, the anniversary of an ex's of y'all's relationship, or every time an ex's birthday passes, you think about that person, or if it's just like a song that you hear and it brings back memories. It's something about that recurring memory. And you've gotten to the point where it don't hurt as bad. You're kind of able to like romanticize it a little bit. You feel the feelings, and you may even like, tear up a little bit, or you'll get like deep into the music and really be feeling it to the point of, possibly a little tear shed or whatever, or your voice breaking while you singing it or whatever. But you'll never be in that broken state that you were in the first time. The bitterness is like, it's dissipating. The bitterness is going away, and you're just tasting the sweet now. But you had a lot of responsibility in that solar plexus position. That solar plexus has a lot to do with like our free will and our intent. It's like the discipline that you choose to place on yourself so that you can get done the things that you need to get done. And that six of coins is like you had a community to tend to, or you had responsibilities that you still had to take care of. You had someone still depending on you. So you couldn't just sit there and, mope around. You still had to get up. And that's God's grace. Like, because if you didn't have no responsibility, you could have just really sat there and rotted away. Some people, when they be in a state of depression, if they don't have nothing to hold them accountable to keep them getting up every morning, then you will just like waste away. You'll get to the point where you don't even want life no more. And it's feeling that whatever it is that you went through, it was that dark with the high priestess. Like it was definitely that dark. And also the component of you probably being young and having to go through whatever it was, like having to deal with such hardship or hurt at such a young age. It did something to you, but you chose to like ascend out of that, but still doing so not in a way where you ascended by like blocking it out, and not ever dealing with it. You ascended out of it. You still had to show up and chop your own wood and be responsible for other people, and then be responsible for healing yourself. And the bittersweet, the sweetness of it is that having to basically wear all of those hats, it made you so strong. Because again, your depth down determines your height up. To the same degree of like pain you went through is the same degree of pleasure that you're manifesting for yourself. That's the transition. When you move from that trench and go to the peak, when you go from the valley, to the mountain. And I'm getting like the feelings when you on a roller coaster. Emotional roller coaster, loving you ain't nothing healthy. Loving you was never good for me. And I got these runes over here, and I'm seeing Aquarius in reverse. And you see those peaks and valleys, like the waves. So somebody may still, you know how they say grieving, it just sneak up on you and it comes in waves. So it's something about the waves of like grief. You may still, again, just like I was talking about, a memory pop up in your head. You hear a song you ain't heard since, back when you was going through what you was originally going through. And then it's like a wave of emotion hits you, but you see just how far you've progressed within yourself, that it doesn't hurt you the way that it used to hurt you. It don't break you. It don't fold you like you used to do, like back in the day, the way it would, because you've learned how to chop your own wood, and you've learned how to heal yourself, and you've given yourself the space and time to grieve, even when other people didn't want to give you that space and time to grieve. But you still kept your responsibility about yourself. So it's a whole lot of balance right here. And in the sacral chakra position, you have the 10 of baskets. That is a flow of abundance. That you've done something that is so high frequency that not only did you replenish yourself, but you have shown, or you have been an example of replenishment to a community. Those same people that you had to get up and still take care of, whether it be children, whether it be elders in your family, you still had to get up and take care of your grandmas because they don't want to be nursing home, whatever the case may have been. You still got up and did what it was that you needed to do, and still took care of yourself. And it was in an exemplary fashion. Like the same people you were taking care of were also watching you. The people who didn't want to hear your mourning or didn't want to participate in your grieving, whether it's because they're just insensitive and apathetic, or they're people who they push their shit to the back of their mind too. So they definitely don't want you to talk about the healing that you went through because they not ready themselves to do no healing. But whatever the case is, like you still an example to a community of strength. you're an example to an ex of strength. You know, somebody, whoever the person was that abandoned you. And I'm not talking about like they perished or whatever, or, you know, got deployed or something. I'm not talking about that type of abandonment, which is still valid. I'm not sitting up here saying that you didn't feel what you felt, but I'm talking about people who, like, somebody made a choice to just not be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you in your worst was still showing up for other people, whereas somebody else saw that you were in your worst position and they just chose not to show up for you at all. Is they not like us. So you are an exemplary, you know, model of strength, of healing, of self-rejuvenation, of stick-to-itiveness, of strength. And this reading is rooted in the fact that whoever it was that was not a part of this healing journey that you took for yourself, they now have to sit with the bittersweet understanding that they will never again have that close of an access to you. The opportunities to sit with you and heal with you was extended and they rejected it. It ain't always about somebody trying to do you wrong. Maybe they just don't have the capacity to do it themselves. But now you've risen to a frequency where someone who won't do their own healing is a liability to you. So it, you know, it ain't like you trying to be mean. It ain't like you trying to, like, you know, well, you didn't want to be with me back then, so don't worry about it now. It's not even that type of energy. The bittersweet thing about it is that you still vividly remember what it was like to love this person. You still vividly remember what it was like to care so much, to the point of it breaking you that they could not reciprocate. But you learned how to chop your own wood. You learned how to solve your own problems. Um, you had to put your big girl drawers on, because I said at the beginning of the reading, I'm talking to some grown folks. You had to put your big girl drawers on, had to put your big boy bloomers on, and you did what was needed to be done. And over time, that thickened skin, it don't mean you don't still have a good heart, but you don't make, you know, heart-based decisions now. It's like you think about, you know, I can love you all day, but you a liability. Maybe you bad for me. Needed you drastically. You either showing me the love you say you had for me. Like that type of energy. Six of baskets, and you know, this is retrograde, so a lot of these memories are coming back to us right now. But you know, you're in that mother coins position, like it don't make sense for me to let you back in at this point in my life. I had to build myself up too far, and for that gap where I was abandoned and I didn't have nobody, it don't make sense for me to go back through that and have to update you and keep you abreast of all the changes that I've made in my life at this point. Somebody is just too far gone. Six of Wands, you're too far gone. You're too far ahead, especially for somebody who still don't do their own work. They just sweep things under the rug and they want to just kind of like pop back up and get back into that same type of union with you. But Son of Coins is like, you're inexperienced. You don't really know nothing about how I move these days. My perspective is a much higher perspective than you. And instead of having to explain to you all the ways that you'll never really understand who I am today, I would rather just keep you in that place where I left you instead of carrying you along, because it's going to be too much work. And again, this high priestess ain't stuck in no karmic loop. You're not getting stuck in no karmic loop having to keep repeating yourself for somebody who didn't want to hear you while you were trying to express yourself. That sense of abandonment, it didn't turn you hard-hearted, but it just did make you more aware of where you're giving your energy to and who you're giving your energy to and who reciprocates and who doesn't. You only want to sit at the table now with people who actually care for you to the extent that you care for them. You don't want to be burdened by those, you know, bittersweet experiences where when you do go through something, and I don't feel the energy that you're going to be doing no more struggling to the extent that you struggled like in your younger days. But if something happened, because, you know, life be lifing, if something happened, you want to make sure you sitting around people who know how to be there at your best and at your lowest. Y'all know all the things they say. If you didn't see me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best. And you know, all of that spotty talking shit. All of that, you know, little slip at the lip type idioms and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like somebody having to sit with the fact that they missed their opportunity. They missed their chance to like learn and grow and heal with you. And now you so far healed, you so far up in your wavelength, when you were left to like suffer alone, the depths of your suffering determine the height of your wins. And whoever wasn't there and chose not to be there, chose, not the ones who you suffering because someone, you know, passed away. I'm talking about when someone passed away and you grieving, and you got folks who's supposed to be in your corner who acting like your grief was just too much for them. It was too inconvenient at the time. These are the ones who are having to sit with the fact that they pretty much are stuck in the past. Like they will not come with you as you ascend to your mountain. So yeah, that's the reading. Very bittersweet. It was heavy, but also very liberating. Kudos to you for doing the work. See y'all in the